Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video. And last time I was on here, we talked about the National League for the MLB season. We previewed the National League. So today we are going to be previewing the American League, and I'm just gonna say, you know, AL might be a little more crazier than the NL, but we'll see. So we're gonna start with the AL East. I'm gonna do the same thing I did for the NL. So I had the Blue Jays ending 96 and 66. I know it sounds a little respectable for them, but the Blue Jays are coming off their heartbreaking World Series defeat to the Dodgers. They did retain a lot of their team. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is still there. Addison Barger and Ernie Clement had great years. Dalton Varsho is one of the best defensive center fielders. Alejandro Kirk is a good catcher. They did lose Bo Bichette though. He did play a big part in that World Series, but they did lose him. But it also gives Addison Barger and Andres Gimenez some more playing time. They acquired Jesus Sanchez from Houston to bolster up their heavy outfield unit. As they don't trust Anthony Santander to stay healthy, they signed Japanese standout Kazuma Akamoto to help in the infield. He should slide in at third. Pitching wise, they did bring back Shane Bieber and brought in Dylan Cease. However, Bieber's probably starting on the injured list, and so is Trey Yesevich. But they brought Max Scherzer back, and they still got Kevin Gausman. So there's no reason that this team shouldn't be competitive for years to come. Yankees I have at 92 and 70. They might actually have a chance this year with Garrett Cole coming back down the line. However, they're out both him and Rodon for opening day. So it's going to be up to Cam Schlittler. It's going to be up to Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, last year's ace, Max Fried, and Ryan Weathers. It was reported they're going to run a four-man rotation. They lost Luke Weaver and Devin Williams for the bullpen. They really didn't get a big replacement to replace any of them. Cody Bellinger was brought back after having a solid season. Aaron Judge, obviously, three-time MVP still there. Giancarlo Stanton. Anthony Volpe needs to be better, but a take that I have is I think we see Spencer Jones at some point before the season ends. But I think they should still be fairly respectable. Third, I had the Red Sox ending at 87 and 75. The Red Sox are kind of weird. They tried their hardest to compete last season, even after trading Rafael Devers. And they made the playoffs. They got bounced by the Yankees. This past offseason, they acquired Wilson Contreras from the Cardinals to play first base, as well as getting Sonny Gray from the Cardinals as well, so to fix their pitching rotation. And they got Caleb Durbin as well to fill their infield. Then they also signed Ranger Suarez to a 5-year contract. So they got that big three-head monster now of Crochet, Gray, and obviously Suarez. 4 and 5 are still a little up for grabs. Aroldis Chapman had a great season as a closer last year. They got a bunch of young guys with insane potential. Roman Anthony had a good year. Marcelo Mayer was good before dealing with injuries. Like I said, they got Caleb Durbin there now. So Duran as well. They got some nice solid pieces for the future, and I think they're going to be a good team to watch. Then I got the Orioles at 82 and 80. Lineup, good. Pitching, nah. Even with adding Ryan Helsley, that was really only the big pitching move they made, other than bringing in Chris Bassett and re-signing Zach Eflin. They also got Shane Baz, but those aren't like moves that scream, oh, we're going to go all in. They don't have a true ace, and the rotation has a bunch of maybes. The lineup is really solid, even though they're going to be without Jackson Holiday for a month or two. Adley Rutschman's due to bounce back, and they also got Samuel Basallo, who's a solid rookie as well to split time. They did sign Pete Alonso to play first base, so they did get that big power bat, and they got Taylor Ward, who hit 30 homers last year with the Angels. So the team is pretty good, and the team is good lineup wise, but pitching I think is going to be their downfall. And then I had the Rays 78 and 84. The Rays, I don't really know what their direction is going to be. Their rotation's decent. Shane McClanahan hopefully stays healthy. Ryan Pepiot had a good season, and Drew Rasmussen is going to be the ace of the rotation. Griffin Jackson was a monster out of the bullpen when they acquired him last season. Other than that, I mean, not a lot of. There's going to be a lot of names in that rotation battling. They lost Pete Fairbanks, so Edwin you said is going to take over as the closer. They signed Cedric Mullins to provide a big outfield glove that they desperately needed. He's going to pair with, I'm going to guess, Chandler Simpson and Jake Fraley. Gavin Lux was added as some infield depth. They got Jonathan Aranda and Junior Caminero, who had solid seasons. And they are returning to the shop this year, too. Last year they played at George Steinbrenner Field because Hurricane Milton tore the roof off, so they're going to be back this year. All right. So we're moving on to the American League Central. I have the Tigers winning the division at 89-73. We can call this year the Justin Verlander farewell tour if we can. He returns to Detroit after a 9-year absence when they traded him to Houston in midst of Houston's debatable 2017 World Championship, where he will join two-time reigning Cy Young winner Tariq Skubal, Jack Flaherty, Casey Mize, as well as the newly acquired Framber Valdez in a fun-loaded rotation. So that they re-signed Kyle Finnegan and added Kenley Jansen to add to their bullpen that really needed a solid closer. So they already filled in that. I mean, obviously Valdez had his fair share of controversies last season, but he's still really good. They didn't really need to add a lot to their lineup. Gleyber Torres accepted his qualifying offer to stay. Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, Spencer Torkelson, Zach McKinstry, Dylan Dingler all had a really good seasons last year, and they like to have similar success to this season. They also got number 2 prospect Kevin McGonigal on his way up. If he's not going to be up on opening day, he's definitely coming up at some time in 2026. There's no reason Detroit should collapse like last season. Then I got the Guardians 87-75. The Guardians surprised a lot of people last season. They weren't doing very hot at the trade deadline, so they traded Shane Bieber to Toronto, and they lost stars Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz to gambling addictions, but they still came and won the division under second-year manager Stephen Vogt. Kate Smith developed into the closer for this team seamlessly, honestly. Tanner Beebe, Gavin Williams will lead the rotation. Hopefully for years to come for them. It's a really fun pitching staff that doesn't have a lot of big names, but has a lot of fun names. Jose Ramirez is going to lead the team again with mainstays Stephen Kwan and Bo Naylor also leading the way. They need Brian Rupcio to have a bounce back year. Otherwise, they got some nice prospects on the way up. CJ Kafis saw some playing time last year. Chase DeLauder, who's their number 1 prospect, saw some playing time last season. In the playoffs, ironically, George Valera, too, will probably saw some light playing time last year. I don't know how well he'll start this year. They also added Reese Hoskins, but it's a good mixture of veterans and young guys here. Then I got the Royals. At 84-78. I think the Royals had a lot of bad luck last season. They still have one of the best players in baseball, Bobby Wick Jr., who got a long-term extension to remain a cornerstone. Vinny Pasquantino and Michael Garcia also had really good years. 2, they brought in Jonathan India, who was last season. Jack Caglione disappointed last season, but he should be better in year 2 with more playing time. Outfield, they added Isaac Collins from Milwaukee, which they desperately needed that outfield bat, so Collins kind of fills that role. Lane Thomas as well. Salvador Perez is getting older, so I think he's in DH more with rookie Carter Jensen getting a good chunk of time behind the plate. Pitching-wise, rotation's pretty much the same. Cole Ragan, Seth Lugo. They added Nick Mears and Matt Schaub to the pen. They should be better, but they have holes. Twins I have a 71-91. Last year was a season from hell for the Twins. They traded away 40% of their roster, but those who survived the purge, including Joe Ryan and Byron Buxton for now, Their ace, Pablo Lopez, is going to miss the entire season after undergoing Tommy John, so it's going to be up to their young guys with Taj Bradley, Zebby Matthews, Mick Abel, or David Festa to also fill those roles alongside Bailey Ober and Ryan, as listed before. Royce Lewis looks to rebound after having last season marred by injuries. They signed Josh Bell as their first baseman and a possible trade candidate. Ryan Jeffers continues to be the catcher, but his bat may not save this team. Luke Keishall and Brooks Lee are great defensive middle infield, but can their bats get going? Then we turn to Chicago. The White Sox, I have 65 and 97. We all know about the 2025 or 2024 White Sox. 2025 was better, but not good. Shane Smith emerged as a solid rotation piece. They got him in the Rule 5 draft last season from Milwaukee. They don't have nothing notable yet in the big league level. Both are good pitchers like Hagen Smith, Noah Schultz, still in the minors. They made a big splash in the offseason. They signed Japanese standout Munetaka Murakami to provide a big power bat. Colson Montgomery made his debut last season and put together a really good campaign. They traded longtime center fielder Luis Robert to the Mets and got Luis Angel Acuna in the trade to slot in at center. He can also play in the infield if they need him to. Kyle Teal and Edgar Quer both had decent seasons last year, so they'll split time behind the dish. It's going to be another rebuilding year, but I think the team will be slightly better. And then moving on to our last division, Mariners, in the AL West, Mariners have winning the division 91-71. Pitching is elite, didn't lose anybody. Brian Wu, Bryce Miller, George Kirby, Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, obviously can't deny that. Bullpen's pretty good. Lineup has Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez, and they re-signed Josh Naylor. Brendan Donovan was acquired as a replacement for Jorge Polanco. They still got like J.P. Crawford, Victor Robles, Randy Arozarena. Got all those guys. As long as their pitching stays healthy, there's no way they shouldn't walk away with the division by less than 5 games. Then I had the Astros at 85-77. Last year was weird for them. They were good, but they missed the playoffs for the first time since 2014. Framber Valdez is gone, so Hunter Brown now emerges as the ace for this rotation. They added Tatsuya Imai from Japan to be a mainstay as well. And their bullpen has a lot of good pieces, led by Josh Hader, but Hader will miss some time to start the season. And they've already had that rotation kind of met. Jordan Alvarez, when healthy, still good, but that's when. Carlos Correa will be back for a full season to pair with Jeremy Pena on that left side of the infield, who kind of had a down year nagged by injuries. Jose Altuve is good, but he's getting older, so I think their best days are behind them. Then I got the Rangers at 82-80. Skip Schumacher returns to managing after taking last season off, this time for the Rangers. They traded Marcus Semien to the Mets, filed some rumored turmoil between him and superstar shortstop Corey Seager, and got Brandon Nimmo in exchange, who will provide stability in the outfield, which Rangers needed after everyone aside from Wyatt Langford really didn't do anything last season. Rotation-wise, Nathan Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom are back. Jordan Montgomery was brought back, but he's going to miss some time. They acquired Mackenzie Gore from the Nationals. So I think their pitching staff will be dominant, but their bullpen's going to hold them back. There's really not a lot else to say. Then the A's, I have at 76-86. A's at one point last year had people believing they could sneak into the playoffs, but then they fell off because their pitching kind of. That being said, there's a lot of fun players on this team. Rookie of the Year Nick Kurtz and runner-up Jacob Wilson both made their debuts last season and both had really good years. Like I said, Kurtz Rookie of the Year. Runner-up was Jacob Wilson. They acquired Jeff McNeil to be that veteran security blanket at second to help with the young guys. Tyler Soderstrom and Shane Langeliers also got extensions and both had really good years. Brett Rooker can show us why he's an underrated DH. Pitching-wise, they added Aaron Savale. They really didn't do a lot. I think this team is still a year or two away from contending, but once they move to Vegas, I think they're going to be really good. Then last but not least, the Angels, 67-95. It's another year down the drain. They're wasting Mike Trout, who, in his age 34 season, had a down year, but it would still be a career year for many. This team just doesn't have much star power either with trading away. I mean, Joe Adele had a good season, and they got some nice young pieces. Zach Neto, Nolan Shanewell, who are good. Pitching isn't that good, but it'll be another bad year for them. And that wraps it up. I had the Dodgers, unfortunately, winning the World Series again against the Yankees. And yeah, not much else to say. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm excited for the season. Bruce.